MSEC003, Sakifuwa. This is a character you guys have been requesting for a breakdown video. I know I promised almost a month ago, and I'm finally ready to talk about her. Sakifuwa has been on my team in Tower Fantasy CN version for a very long time, ever since I got her, and she has never left my side. And if I have to summarize what exactly she is in the team of Frost, she is basically the core of Ice team, basically. One of the most unique character to me, and that's because to me she provides double iframe, the ability to reset all your skills cooldown at A1, the ability to self-heal, decent DPS, probably not in global according to the league, but we still don't know yet, so I honestly tell people not to take global league as a final result. Let's just wait for the official release, alright? And she is also an amazing shatter and also an amazing tank. Special thanks to both my crewmate Kuso as well as Ken for providing even more information about Sakifuwa that I did not know and mistakenly taking granted of. Basically, I misunderstood the wrong thing. And thanks to both of these for clarifying for me. This video is referring to the CN version of Sakifuwa. I am aware of the global changes, but I do not wish to talk about it until the weapon is released, or at least added to the weapon warehouse. And again, let me introduce myself. My name is Zackie, and I know a lot of you are asking for this video, and some of you are telling me not to force myself in making these videos. I do appreciate it, but I'm getting a lot more better, and the reason why I'm making this video is because I want to express about Sakifuwa, and I just want to share about this character. It's part of gaming, and it's actually very fun to cover character. So let's get on with it. Sakifuwa works for the special forces of Miroria to preserve peace. She is a dual-wielding candle swordswoman, 801. Her weapon is called the Ryusen Toshin in the CN version, or basically the Japan version, but global is called Hot Stream, which is very weird. I hope that's not an official name. Ryusen Toshin sounds a way lot more cooler. And according to lore, ever since Alice had memory loss, Saki is appointed as the captain of her squad. When it comes to the story of Vera I play in CN, she is not that much involved yet. So hopefully we see more of her in the future, since she's one of my favorite characters. Her PvE release shows that she is a figurine collector. Her 3-star skin looks amazing, and I've heard that you can toggle her mask on or off. She also has a white wedding dress skin, of course not free, obtained through gacha, which costs a total of 9,600 dark crystal if you're not lucky. That makes her badonkra looks huge though, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm pretty sure she's the type of girl to dress to make them look small, and after spending a little bit of money, she just decided to show you a little bit more of her skin. This is a very weird guide, I'm sorry. Her katana with that skin will also have a rosy white design, which I really like. Sakifuwa is an ice element weapon, falling under the resonance fortitude. She has a shatter rate of 13.0, charge rate of 8.0, but don't let that charge rate deceive you. She is actually an amazing charger. Sakifuwa, just like Freak, she also have ice resonance. She has a 5 basic attack from her kit, 5 aerial hit attack, dive attack that deals 30% attack each hit, but final attack 76%. Now I'm aware of the jetpack Saki, but no one really do that, at least not what I've seen in CN. It's not very effective, but if you want to do it, just go and do it. A dodge attack deals a total of 277% frost attack plus 15 damage, and basically this is where it gets complicated. So Sakifuwa becomes very, she has 2 style basically, alright? If you build Sakifuwa in DPS, Balance, or Benediction, she becomes a mode known as Excited Flow mode. But if you build her Fortitude, Resonance, basically if you slap her with Maril, which both of their weapon is Fortitude Resonance, she becomes Silent Flow mode. Both of these modes will change how her combat work, as well as her skill, but not her discharge. Her discharge remains the same, which we'll get into later. Let's talk about the Excited Flow mode first. Your basic to charge attack will do a launch forward swirling attack, dealing 199.5% frost attack plus 11 damage. Your skill will become Flashing Stream. Basically, you're dashing toward enemy, temporarily stopping or slowing them down, very similar to how Freak Discharge work. This also provides iframe for Sakifuwa, and it deals a total damage of 927.7% attack and 49 damage. It has a cooldown of 30 seconds, so this skill is actually very good when it comes to dealing damage, slowing enemies down, and basically it's, again, I remind you, it's a very great shatter as well as DPS. You can also use this skill as an iframe to dodge. It's very useful if you're out of option, right? If your Freak is on cooldown and stuff like that. And after using the skill, you will have a buff called the Excited Shadow Blade. It's this aura around you and it has absolutely no cooldown or duration. Once you trigger Sakifuwa skill, this will always be with you. The Excited Shadow Blade will cast a flying slash known as Flow. Flow deals a total of 125% frost damage each time and recovers 57% of the damage as health. Each of this recovery is capped at 100% of attack, meaning you heal based on how much frost attack you have in your stat. Flow will be casted every 0.8 seconds, especially very useful when you're sitting very close to the enemy, or maybe if you're trying to play defensive, standing further away from enemy will allow you to heal, right? If you want to use Link in the future, you can play it from distance and also use Sakifuwa Flow to heal while maintaining in the air with Link. So I don't know how to explain to you. So to those people who don't know where Sakifuwa healing comes from, it basically comes from her Flow. The flying sword that attacks the enemy heals 100% of your frost attack, alright? Now let's talk about her silent flow mode, which is her Fortitude Resonance build. Your basic to charge attack is called the Barrier. Your basic to charge attack will hold a parry stance, blocking 20% of your max HP from damage, and when released, deals a total of 127.3% attack plus 7 damage. Your skill becomes Concentrated Stream, allow you to hold a blocking stance up to 3 seconds. While you're charging for 3 seconds, it will taunt nearby enemy, meaning they will attack you, and you will also do some sort of vacuum effect. You're sucking them closer, and if they attack you, you absorb their damage up to 60% of your HP, meaning 60% of HP you're not going to be taking any damage. You see that invincibility word right there is Chinese. You're not taking damage up to 60% of your health. When you release your charging stand, deals a total of frost damage based on how much damage you absorb. This is complicated. How much damage you absorb times 850% of your frost attack plus 50% amount you recover. You also recover some HP, but in this description it's actually very complicated. So this skill also has a cooldown of 30 seconds, very similar to Flashing Stream. Let's get down to the next complicated thing, alright? Now, pretty similar to Excited Flow mode, you will also have the Silent Shadow Blade around you after using your skill. Excited Flow's Shadow Blade looks a lot more spherical, while Silent Flow's look a lot more rigid or agile. I don't know how to describe it, but you can see on the screen. On the left one is the DPS build. It looks a lot more spherical, it's not curved. While on the right side is the Fortitude build. It's a lot more edgy, as you can see right there. Damn, this is really complicated. This is the reason why I do not want to cover this video. Now, Saki has another hidden skill called Surge. Both of the mode has this skill. It is basically a slash attack. This happens when after the player triggers her skill, it doesn't matter what resonance you build, followed with a normal to charge attack, you'll see one darker blue slash that deals 450% AoE frost attack. This passive has a cooldown of 10 seconds, so it doesn't really matter because your skill has a total of 30 seconds cooldown unless you're able to reset at A1, which we'll explain later. But in Silent Flow mode, after you release Surge, you gain 3 block charges that last for 10 seconds. Every time a mob attacks you, you block 15% of your max HP from damage. Aside that, you also deal a 450% frost attack back to the enemy. You also increase the Nexus Shatter by 100% and grant a taunting effect. Now, I'm not saying that Silent Flow mode is completely useless. It is pretty complicated mode and I never use it, so I don't have the right to say that it's useless. Maybe you guys will find it useful, right? A lot of things that comes to global, people tend to prove CM players wrong, and I really want to see that a lot. But let's get down to Sakifuwa Discharge. Sakifuwa Discharge is called the Heart of Lotus. Very similar to other Discharge, remove debuff and she dashes toward enemy, unleashing Starburst Stream, dealing a total damage of 864.5% plus 46 damage. A last hit on her Discharge makes the best shatter, but overall, her true shatter still lies in Flashing Stream. So Flashing Stream, again, a very powerful shatter. If added together with Alice, A1, and the projected relic, hence with Freak, Frozen Domain shatter rate, percentage or whatever, hence, I understand why the balancing is brought to the global Saki's version, but it's still not official yet. Saki's Simulacra trait at level 1, when health is below 70%, gain 40% elemental resistance to all elements. Very straightforward. You try to keep your HP at 70% below, or maybe just keep it 100, and when it's 70 below, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter whether it's 70% below or not. It gives 40% elemental resistance to all elements. But at level 2, it adds an additional 60% frost resistance, making it very useful when you're fighting frost bosses, especially in the future. Who knows, in the underwater we'll see a lot of frost bosses. So basically you technically resist 100% already. Aside that, when Surge is triggered, not only you provide 3 block for yourself that counters attack, but also to the teammate with the lowest health for 10 seconds. Now I'm pretty sure this is only to the silent flow mode, not to the excited flow mode, meaning the Fortitude Resonance. The block amount will not exceed 15% of their HP, but I'm not sure if it also provides counter attack, so I'll leave it at that. Now that we cover her kit, it's time to cover her awakening. I will make a separate video for team building, as I feel I don't want this video to be too long, as it's gonna be very hard to absorb, so we'll make a separate video. When you understand this video a little bit better, we'll talk about her team building. Now it's very recommended that F2P at least A1 Saki. When Frost Resonance is activated, release any weapon skill 5 times in total to clear the cooldown of all weapon skills and double the damage of flow and counter attack for 25 seconds. So basically, you're gonna see this counter on your screen right here depending on how many times you use a skill, and by the time it reaches 5, it's gonna reset all her skill and give damage to flow, the flying blade, as well as the counter attack. Now this is really recommended for F2P. If you want to get Sakifuwa, you want to see her full potential, at least A1. You can also pair her with Claudia or Tsubasa with a very low cooldown team. Claudia has 15 second skill cooldown. Tsubasa also, if I'm not mistaken, also has a 15 second cooldown skill. So it's very fast to trigger Sakifuwa skill reset. At A3, Excited Flow Surge damage increased to 900%. This is Surge, the darker blue slash you see of Frost attack. And Silent Flow Surge cooldown reduced to 5 seconds, but it deals only still 450% frost attack, in case you're not following. At A5, basically if every time you trigger Surge, Fantasia upon hitting target, it also shares cooldown with your original Fantasia. The good thing about it is that if you're stuck at dodging, this can actually be quite useful, but can be a hassle if you're trying to time something. Now the Fantasia that you trigger will be blue color in this A5, however, it is gonna be the cooldown is gonna be shared with the original Fantasia, the purple one. Finally, at A6, after Surge, increase your frost damage by 20% for 15 seconds upon hitting a target. Activating Sword Shadow block reduce surrounding enemies frost damage by 25%. Basically, it makes enemy weaker to your frost attack and something like that for 12. It's a debuff for 12 seconds, right? So I don't have to talk about this. A6 is basically a better treatment for Whale. A5 is for people who can't trigger Fantasia. But basically, if you want more damage, at least in the F2P perspective, well, a small spender, A3 is actually quite enough. But if you want her to fully function, at least A1 Sakifuwa. Now, people are asking if Fortitude Resonance or DPS Resonance is better in PvP. In PvP, there is no such thing as Resonance. If you enter PvP, there's no Resonance pointed. So Saki by default in PvP is in Excited Flow mode since PvP has no Resonance. I hope I make that clear. And for recommended relic, I actually prefer on the upcoming future Count 2 and Hologram Projector to help you shatter a lot more faster, because Sakifuwa has one problem. She might shatter great, but her shatter has one problem, is that she's gonna facing a 30-second cooldown, and in the future there's gonna be a relic called the Chosen Dice in the future, which gonna reset your skill again, making Sakifuwa a lot more easier to shatter enemy. I hope that videos helped. This is actually Saki is a very complicated character to break down, hence it took us so long to try to understand her kit and try not to make any mistakes. If you have any question, you can leave them down in the comment section below, because there's going to be part 2 of this video where I focus talking about Saki team building, which is going to come maybe 2 or 3 days because Saki is still that long. And then when her global version is coming, we'll talk about it again. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Zackie, and A is just a gaming channel.